everyone, here is our guided exercises for corporal liquidation. Here is the solution. Kindly get your copies of the guided exercises. If you don't have any copies, so sasabihin ko naman yung mga details. Okay, so let's start. So you were asked, okay, given ka ng financial statement, okay, the assets, the liabilities, and then the equity, and then you have a capital deficiency of 450,000 or the estate deficiency. Then additional information tells you that you have administrative expenses of 180 to be incurred. Then the equipment is pledged as collateral, and then the land is pledged as collateral for loan payable. Yung equipment is for the note payable. Okay? You were asked to compute for the assets pledged to fully secured. So, yun muna. So, alin ba yung fully secured natin? If you look at the problem, you'll see na yung equipment na unang binanggit ay for note payable. The note payable is 500,000 and then the equipment is 150 ang realizable value niya. You're not going to look at the carrying amount, you look at the realizable value. Okay, so kulang. So hindi siya fully secured. Then you look at the land. The land is naka-value at 1.3 million. Okay. Then, yung naka-pledge siya sa loan payable. Your loan payable is 750. So, dito, alam mong sobra yung assets na pledge to loan payable. So, this is the creditor for the loan payable is a fully secured creditor, okay? So, meron kang tirang free asset na 550 for the unsecured without priority, reserved for them, okay? Unsecured creditors, okay? Next, so alam natin that the partially secured, as mentioned kanina, is the equipment valued at 150. Okay, the note is at 500,000. So, kulang pa, wala kang free assets. Okay, so meron na tayong fully, partially, and then we were asked to compute for the free assets. Okay, pwede mong computein yung free assets like this, yung itong sobra mong 550, okay, the excess of the realizable value of the land over loan payable, okay, and then yung cash, nasa financial position at realizable value 200,000, and the accounts receivable at realizable value, 450,000. Yan lang naman kasi yung mga hindi naka-pledge to certain liabilities, itong dalawang to, okay, then you have free assets of 1.2. So, you have the free assets na. Now, you are asked to compute for the net free assets. Okay, how do we do that? So, alam natin that the net free assets is actually the free assets less the unsecured liabilities with priority. So, hanapin mo yung unsecured liabilities with priority or those mandated by law, which is the administrative expenses, the employee benefits, and salaries, and then the taxes. So, meron kang administrative expenses, additional information na 180. So, kailangan mo siyang bayaran. So, with priority siya. And then, you have the salaries payable at realizable value at 800,000. So, minus mo lang siya sa free assets mo, you'll get 220,000. Okay? So, this is your net free assets. Pwede mo namang gawin is this one. So, this is another technique. Again, find the technique that you are most comfortable with. Kasi hindi ibig sabihin, ginagawa ni ma'am ay comfortable ka na. Okay, baka ikaw ay nakakita ng easier way, or baka naman you have adapted a certain technique na naituro. So, depende sa iyo yun. Okay, so another way of doing this is you just add the total assets at realizable value. Okay, so you have 2,100,000 pag inad mo lahat. Then, i-less mo ngayon yung secured creditors, yung fully secured loan. Okay, itong nasa taas natin, yung 750. Okay, and then you less yung secured, partially secured So, that's actually the value of the equipment na 150. Okay, up to the realizable value of the equipment only. Kasi yun lang naman ang partially secured sa kanya. So, you have total free assets of 1.2. Okay, then less mo ngayon yung unsecured creditors with priority, yung 180 at saka yung 800, you'll get net free assets of 220. Again, pili ka lang sa dalawa kung saan ka mas comfortable. Kung dito ba na hinahanap mo yung mga free assets, or if kaya mo ng buo, then you just less the fully secured and then the partially secured up to the realizable value only of the asset na pledge sa kanya. Okay? Then less mo lang yung unsecured creditors. Okay. So, let's now go to the liabilities part. So, kanina pa natin kinocompute yung unsecured liabilities with priority. So, you have administrative expenses of 180 and you have salaries payable of 800. You get 980. Okay, for fully secured, loan payable of 750. Yung kanina, partially secured. Okay, this is the value of the note payable na ha, kasi liabilities part na siya. So, the notes payable of 500,000 is actually partially secured. Now, we go to computation of unsecured liabilities without priority. So, alin ba yung exist sa notes payable na hindi secured? Okay, so you just deduct 150,000, which is the realizable value of the equipment, sa 500,000 na realizable value of the notes payable, okay, or the net settlement amount of the notes payable. You'll get the exist na hindi secured, okay, the unsecured part na 350,000, and then the rest naman, ang natira na lang na unsecured or the liabilities na wala naka-pledge sa kanya or it is not mandated by law is the accounts payable. Okay, so 350 plus 700, you'll get 1050. Okay, so pwede na tayo mag-compute for estimated deficiency. Okay? To compute, ito yung estimated deficiency ha. Actually, I have presented this already in the example problem. Okay, you just compute for the estimated deficiency by deducting the total assets at realizable value from the total liabilities at settlement amount. Okay, you just have to add the administrative expense. Okay, so pwedeng ganitong gawin mo. Okay, another way of doing it. You have already computed for the net free assets, yung 220, this one. Okay, the net free assets of 220. Then you just deduct the unsecured liabilities without priority. Ito. Okay, so yung dalawa yung pinagtatama. Okay, so you have a total deficiency of 830,000. Kasi yung iba, kaya mo nang bayaran. Okay, this part, ito, magkano pa yung hindi mo kayang bayaran? Okay, that's the deficiency. So, saan mo kukunin? So may pambayad kang 220. Meron ka pang babayarang 1050. So, magkano ang kulang mong pambayad? 830. That's the deficiency. Okay? So, pwede naman yung sinabi ko kanina, the total assets at realizable value, you have already the amount of 2.1 million, and then the total liabilities at settlement amount. Okay, so meron ka ng computed na 750, you just add the accounts payable, salaries payable, note payable, and loan payable, and then you just add the administrative expense, okay, kasi liability din siya. So you have 180, you'll have a total liabilities at settlement amount of 2,930 million, okay. Then you have, pag sinum up mo sila lahat, you have the estimated deficiency to unsecured non-priority creditors of 830,000. Okay, so that's your deficiency. Now, we can compute for, kanina pa natin pwedeng computein, okay, the estimated recovery percentage of unsecured creditors without priority. So, meron ka ng clue how to compute for deficiency. Bakit? Ito, net free assets and the total unsecured liabilities without priority. Yun lang naman ang ginamit natin din for the computation. Now, we are looking at the percentage. Okay, you just use the formula, net free assets divided by total unsecured liabilities without priority. That's 220,000 divided by 1050,000, you'll get 20.95%. Okay? So, ito ay, ang tawag din kung kukunin mo yung estimated deficiency, you just have to deduct, okay, or you just have to sum. If you're going to get the percentage, you just divide. Okay, so ganon, yun yung clue dyan. Okay, the last question, the second to the last is that merong scenario, si Mr. JYP daw is an unsecured non-priority creditor. So, nandun siya sa unsecured without priority. Magkano daw? And has a 500,000 claim. Okay, so, nasan yun? Sa 1050, kanya yung 500,000 na claim. Okay? So, magkano daw ang makokollect ni Mr. JYP, knowing that he is an unsecured non-priority creditor. Ay di yung 500,000 niyang claim, multiply mo lang sa estimated recovery percentage na 20.95. Ang makukuha lang niya sa 500,000 niya is 104,750. Masakit, pero at least hindi zero ang nakuha niya. Okay? So, ganyan talaga. Doing business has its risk. Okay? So, we now go to the last requirement for the problem 1. You have statement of affairs. So I have made, okay, the statement of affairs here. So this is pro forma. Okay, naka-format siya. You just, the name of the corporation, the Wonder Girls, or the group, the Wonder Girls Corporation, then statement of affairs, and the date as of January 1, 20x1. Okay, kasi nag-liquidate siya January 1, 20x1. Okay, on the outer left side, you put the book values, followed by the assets, realizable value, and then the available for unsecured creditors. So, parang nagko-compute ka na din dito. Okay, kaya nung undergrad ako, I'm already using the statement of affairs format when I am computing this kasi parang nandito na din naman lahat. Okay, so book value of the land given naman 1 million. Okay, so this is your assets pledged to fully secured creditors. So, you just put the land, the realizable value, yung related liability, kung saan siya naka-pledge, okay, 750,000. And then, you just deduct. You get available for unsecured creditors na 550. This was computed earlier. Then, you follow it by assets pledged to partially secured creditors. Okay, you input the book value of the equipment, and then the realizable value at 150. The notes payable, valued at 500,000. Okay, walang available for unsecured creditors. Now, you compute for free assets. So, the cash, book value, is the same with the realizable value. And then, book value of the AR is 500, accounts receivable 450, realizable value. So, you have a total free assets from those that are not pledged of 650. Now, you add the total free assets part, so 550 from the exists plus the free assets 650. You get a total free assets of 1.2 million. Okay? Now, yung computation natin ng free assets, less mo lang yung unsecured liabilities with priority. Okay? So, yun yung 980. Yun yung kanina natin na-compute. Where? Okay, ito, 980. Ito. 980,000. O kaya, see below daw. O di ito, 980,000. Okay, 980. You get net free assets of 220,000. Okay, this one is a squeeze figure. Pero dahil na-compute natin kanina, okay, the estimated deficiency, where? Yan, 830, okay, hindi mo na kailangang i-squeeze, okay, pero kung you have not computed it ahead of time and you're using this pro forma, you can squeeze it, okay, kasi alam mo total, what's this, 1050, total, nasan yun, ito, 1050, okay, para na ating maano. Okay, so you have total unsecured liabilities without priority for 1050. Okay, so yan. So this is squeeze figure. Okay, so yan. Next, you get to the liabilities part. Though ganun din, book values, liabilities, realizable values, and then for unsecured non-priority liabilities, you put first the unsecured liabilities with priority, administrative expense, you have 180, salaries payable 800, okay, book value niya, and 0. 0 ang unsecured non-priority liabilities. Then you follow it by fully secured creditors, the loan payable of 750, okay, then followed by the partially secured creditors, 500, note payable. Less mo lang yung naka-pledge sa kanyang equipment at 150, you'll get 350 part for the unsecured non-priority liabilities. Now, you compute for the unsecured creditors without priority. So, that's the accounts payable, 700. Ilagay mo lang siya sa part na to. Then, for the shareholders' equity, okay, so 450, this is the capital deficiency. Okay, yung presented sa financial statement. Okay, here, 0. So, wala matatanggap si shareholders. Okay, then you get a total mo lang, unsecured non-priority liabilities at 1050. So, mukhang balance siya. Okay, so, yan, 1050,000. So, So that's how you prepare the statement of affairs. Okay, so that's problem 1. I hope I'm not too fast, I'm not too slow, and I have presented it properly. So this is the basic way of doing it. Kasi if your foundation sa basic is hindi matitinag, kahit balik-baliktarin pa ang problem, okay? And you know, may muscle memory ka na sa problem solving ng corpo liqui, the basic way, you can make bali-balintong na the problem and masasagutan mo siya. Okay? So, that's for problem 1. For problem 2, this is actually for the realization and liquidation of the company, corporation. So, you were provided na the same pa rin with the Wondergirls Corporation FS sa sa problem 1, except carrying amounts lang yung the same. So, you have additional information. Like, for example, noong January 1, there is an interest of 30,000 expected to be paid sa loan. And then, liquidation cost of 180 are expected to be incurred. Then, you have also transactions noong December 31, 20x1. So, you have for the year ended December 31, 20x1, you have 280,000 were collected. Okay, so yan. Equipment was sold for 150. Okay, so the first requirement is to provide the journal entries in the book of the receiver. Kasi nga, when you are doing the statement of realization and liquidation, it is assumed that you have given the settlement of the affairs sa isang receiver, okay, or a trustee. Okay, so the opening journal entry is that you're transferring you're giving it to the receiver. Okay, so how do you do that? So you just debit the assets. Okay, so these are the carrying amounts. Okay, 200, 500, 600, 1 million. This is the carrying amounts. So, huwag mo muna itong pansinin. Basta ilagay mo siya dyan. Okay, and then you credit the liabilities. Okay, so 700, 800, 500, 750. Okay, now, what you do, the asset deficiency, madali naman siya compute, and you just less the asset from the liabilities, quiz figure 450. Okay, that's the opening journal entry. Okay, next is journal entry for the new assets and liabilities. Okay, ang bago lang naman na i-recognize is actually the interest na 30,000 that is expected to be paid on the loan payable. Okay, so paano mo siya i-record? You debit estate deficit kasi dagdag siya sa babayaran. And naka-deficit ka na nga, so may babayaran ka pa. 30,000 debit. Okay, and then credit interest payable 30,000. So wala namang additional asset, liabilities lang yung nadagdag. Okay? Then you journalize the transaction during 20x1. So yung lahat ng binigay for the transactions for the year ended December 31, 20x1. So first off, you have 280,000 were collected on 400,000 accounts receivable. So debit ka ng cash, yung na-collect na 280, and then credit mo si accounts receivable na 400,000. So dito sinasabi, sa amount daw na 400,000, so yung kinokolekta mo, yung tinatawagan mo, 400,000 yung expected mong makukuha sa kanila. Pero ang binayad lang nila is 280. Yung the rest, the 120,000 is actually hindi mo siya nakuha. So, i-debit mo siya sa asset deficit na 120,000. Okay? So, parang na-write off, ganon. Okay? So, yon. And then, next, you have letter B. The equipment was sold for 150. So, sa 150, net na siya ng 40,000 disposal cost. So, the net proceeds were used to fully settle the note payable. The creditor canceled the balance. So, i-record mo muna natin yung nakuha mo from the equipment. So, debit ka ng cash na 150. Credit mo sa equipment at equipment is at realizable value. Carrying amount yung ika-cancel mo. Okay? So, equipment at carrying amount na canceled, 600,000. Then, yung pinakaiba ni 150 at ni 600, papasok siya as estate deficit kasi you pay, kulang, okay? You got the equipment at a loss, okay? Next, yung 150 daw is ginamit to settle the note payable. And then, alam natin na yung note payable is at 500,000. So, 500 minus 150, the amount is canceled by the creditor. So, mabait. So, cancel mo muna yung buong carrying amount na notes payable na 500,000. Pinambayad mo si cash, so credit, 150, kasi naalis siya sa sistema mo. Okay, and then, the 350, tanggalin mo na siya sa estate deficit kasi hindi mo na siya babayaran kasi mabait si creditor, kinancel na niya. Okay, so credit estate deficit at 350,000. Okay, so you're actually getting the hang of the idea na the estate deficit is actually nadidebit siya if there's additional expenses and there's additional babayaran si corporation, okay, knowing na naka-estate deficit na siya. And then you credit the estate deficit when there are times na nababawasan yung babayaran mo. Okay? Nababawasan in a sense na nagigain ka because, for example, yung notes payable mo nga, dating 500, ang binambayad mo yung 150. So, sabi, sige, para wag mo na bayaran yung 350. Okay, so, parang, yay, gain mo, ganun. Okay? Next, CC, you have the land was sold for 1.5 million. Okay? Disposal cost of 100,000. Then, the net proceeds were used to fully settle the loan payable, including the interest. So, yung natanggap mo is hindi 1.5, kundi 1.5 million less 100,000 kasi disposal cost. So, this is actually the realizable value nung, tawag din nung transaction. Okay, kasi 1.5 less disposal cost of 100,000. So, 1.4 million. Okay? Then, cancel mo lang si land. Okay? Oo nga, cancel mo si land na carrying amount niya is at 1 million. Okay? So, kina-cancel mo si land or kine-credit mo yung mga assets pag nawawala na sa iyo at carrying amount. Okay? So, don't be malito. Okay? So, the pinagkaiba of the dalawa, kasi ang carrying amount niya is 1 million, pero ang natanggap mo sa kanya is 1.4, ibawas mo ngayon sa estate deficit at 400,000. Okay? So, yon. Then, we have sinettle daw yung loan payable at interest payable using the proceeds from the benta. So, cancel mo, loan payable at 750, and then yung ni-recognize mong bagong interest payable, kasi kakabit siya ni loan payable na 30,000, cancel mo din siya. Okay. Then, credit cash at 780,000. 780 lang, kasi yun lang naman ang value ng loan payable at interest payable mo. Okay. Then, the half daw of the accounts payable and 1/4 of the salaries were settled. Okay. So, yung accounts payable, kalahati daw binayaran, 700 times 1/2 or divide by 2, 350. Salaries payable, 800 times 1/4, you have 200,000. And then, credit cash of 550,000. Okay? So, ganun lang. Then, last one is liquidation cost of 240 were paid. Additional 120 are expected to be incurred in 20x2. So, yung re-record mo lang is actually the 240,000. So, sa estate deficit mo siya. Ipasok debit, estate deficit, and then credit cash of 240,000. Okay? So, ganyan po mag-journal entry. Now, we prepare the statement of realization and liquidation. So, nandito sa part na to. Char. Yan, okay, nasa baba. Okay. So, we start with the assets. So, debit side, assets to be realized. Alam natin these are actually your non-cash assets. Okay, so non-cash assets mo, you have 500,000, 600,000, and 1 million at carrying amounts. Okay, so total of 2.1 million. Okay, wala si cash kasi non-cash assets lang. Then on the credit side, you have assets to be, sige, dito muna debit. Assets acquired, wala. Okay, 0. And then on the credit side, you have assets realized. These are actually yung mga nasingil mo and napagbenta mo, the net proceeds. At net proceeds lagi po siya. Okay, the accounts receivable, you only got to 80,000 according to the narrative of the problem. Okay, then you have equipment, nakakuha mo siya at 150. Nabenta mo siya at 150 net of disposal. So, hindi mo na kailangan i-minus yung 40 kasi naka-net na siya. The land, you got it at 1.5 million, pero dahil may 100,000 na disposal cost, minus mo siya, so 1.4. So, add mo lang, you have total assets realized na 1.830. This is at net proceeds amount. Okay? Alin lang yung hindi na-realize? This is actually ang hindi mo lang na-realize na asset is the accounts received. Hindi mo pa na-realize. Okay, why? Kasi ang sinisingil mo pa lang naman is the carrying amount at 400,000. Ang carrying amount ng AR mo is 500,000. Meaning, may natitira ka pang 100,000 na hindi mo pa natatawagan at hindi mo pa nasisingil. So, assets not realized siya. Okay, hindi kasama dito yung 400,000, tas ang nakuha mo lang is 280, yung difference nila, hindi siya kasama. Kasi parang na-write off mo na siya. Okay? So, yon. Next, liabilities. So, we start at the credit side kasi credit balance niya. Liabilities to be liquidated. So, these are the carrying amounts of the liab. So, you have AP, salaries payable, note payable, loan payable, total of 2.750,000. Okay? Liabilities assumed, again, sa credit side. So, isa lang naman yung bago. Okay? Interest payable na 30,000. These are the new liabilities, ha? Interest payable, 30,000. So, yun siya lang naman. Okay? On the debit side, you have liabilities liquidated. So, ito yung mga nabayaran mo. Sa accounts payable, kalahati lang yung nabayaran mo. Okay? So, 700,000 divide 2. Okay? So, salaries payable, 1/4 lang daw yung nabayaran mo. So, 200,000. Note payable, nabayaran mo ng note payable. Nabayaran mo lang siya gamit yung proceeds from the sale of the equipment na 150, and then the rest was canceled by the creditor, mabuting loob. So, 150 lang. Then the loan payable, buo, nabayaran mo siya, 750, and then interest payable of 30. A total liabilities liquidated of 1.480 million. Okay? Then, we have liabilities not liquidated, dalawa lang. So, you have kalahati ng accounts payable, okay? Kasi kalahati lang yung bayaran mo. And then, the 3/4, yung natirang salaries payable, okay? 3/4, hindi pa nababayaran. You have a total of liabilities not liquidated, 950,000. Okay? Let's now go to the supplementary items. So, sa debit side, supplementary expense, you have liquidation cost. So, 240,000. Okay? Total, ito kompletong side na to, 47750. Now, to balance it, dapat, wala ka sa supplementary income eh. Okay? So, to balance the 47750, you just deduct the debit side and then the credit side, or, and then you'll get a net loss of 60,000. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, mas malaki yung debit side mo kaysa sa credit side. So, you have a net loss for the year of 60,000. Okay? So, ganun lang. Okay? So, yan. Next, compute for the ending balance of cash. So, ending balance of cash, madali lang. You just do the T account. Sorry, ganito yung tsura. Kasi, finalo niya yung format nito, nung journal entry. Anyway, so, the account of the cash, pwede siyang ganito. There are two ways of doing it. Pwede siyang, hanapin mo yung beginning balance of cash, debit, 200,000. And then, yung net proceeds from your assets realized, yung mga napagbenta mo at 1.830 million. Okay, so ito yon 1.830 million. Yan, 1.830. Okay, next. Sa kabilang side is yung mga nabayaran mo na liabilities. Liabilities liquidated at 1,480,000 and the administrative expense na 240,000. Okay, liabilities liquidated. Okay, where? O, yan. Yan, 1,480 at saka 240. Okay, you'll get a total of 310. Okay? So, that's the ending balance of cash. Or pwede naman ganito. Ito, kapag sure ka sa journal entry mo, pwede mong himayin, pwede mong minahin, minimin. Pwede mong hanapin yung mga debits and credits of cash from the transaction. So, sa debit, you have the transaction from letter A, letter B, letter C, nag-debit ka ng cash. So, these are the amounts. On the journal entries the above, you have credited cash kay letter B, kay C, kay D, and kay E transactions. Okay? And then, foot mo lang sila. Okay, cross-foot mo lang. After footing, cross-foot, you'll get 310. So, maalin sa dalawa pwede mong gamitin kung saan ka mas komportable. Okay? Next, so, ending balance, written. Next, you get estate deficit. So, how do you do this? So, para ka lang din nagmimina ng cash. Okay? So, this one, you look for the 450,000 opening balance or the beginning balance, saan siya makukuha? The capital deficiency or yung na-compute sa FS. Okay, that's 450,000. Now, you add the new liability na inassume mo, okay, which is the interest payable of 30,000. Okay, then the rest is history. Okay, so miminahin mo lang siya yung account na estate deficit from your journal entries. Okay, si A, si B, si E, si B, at si naka-debit, and then si B and C transactions, nag-credit ka na estate deficit. Now, you foot, then you cross-foot, you'll get 540,000 ending balance. Okay? So, ganun lang. Okay, so for the reconciliation, for the computed cash balance, okay, so, hindi ko pala siya nagawa. Okay, so, I'll just add the reconciliation dito sa file, and then I'll just upload this sa ating LMS. Okay, so, yon, madali lang naman siya. You're just doing the accounting equation. Okay, the assets is equals to liabilities plus equity. Okay, parang checking lang siya. Okay, pero you're just using the 540, the 310. Okay, so, yun lang naman. Okay, so, bye guys. I hope you're okay and you are fine and you are safe. Okay, bye-bye guys.